Hey Loretta, Jennifer Lee. Just getting on here, trying to get started, get everything set up. Uncle Norris, how you doing?
Hi.
What's up, Uncle Mike? Good to see you on here. Hope everything's going good with you. Turn it. Aunt Leona. Hi Holly, it's nice to see you too. Chuck Knight, what's happening, brother? Ricky Gordon. Hey Melissa, how are you? Thanks, Aunt Loretta. Trying to get on the uphill swing of this thing. Waiting on Talia to get finished up. She was kind of fighting me trying to get on this thing. It's the first time I've ever been live. First time she's ever been live, so bear with us. It's kind of I won't say courageous, but out of the ordinary for us. Hey Mom, Johnny Barnes, what's happening, buddy? Can everybody hear? I'm not sure. Hey Marlena. Can everybody hear me? Alright, good to. We'll get started in just a second. A lot of people on here know me, but there's also a lot that don't. That's never really met me. Only through what I'm going through is the reason why they met me. And so we're gonna try and go through a little backstory of how I got where I'm at, what state of life we was in, and all that, you know, things that was happening. And we'll probably get emotional, but hope y'all don't mind and bear with us. Hey Miss Bonnie. Hey Dad. Kiki, good to see you. Jenny, Loretta. Alright, so what time is it?
7:30.
7:32. We'll give a couple more minutes, let everybody get online. It takes a while. Jim Becoy, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. I've been looking at you having a little bit of fun out there in your pool. Hope you're doing good, brother. Russell Halsey, haven't seen you in a long time, man. Good to see you. Kim. Hey, Samantha, I love you, sweetheart.
Hi, Sammy.
Daniel, Missy. What's up, Joe? You can't watch us while we're doing it. Don't worry, Chuck. Ain't nobody gonna see that face. They just see mine. Maybe Talia's. Hey, real quick. Hope everybody got to see my pillow that Samantha and the kids made for me. This thing was really, really awesome for Father's Day. So, if y'all ever think of good gifts to give for Father's Day, these things are awesome. It meant a lot to me. Thank you, Sam. Right, Sydney. It's all we can do, huh, Jim? Move forward, brother. You're an inspiration to me, brother. I tell you that. ever since we hooked up again, man, to see the things that you're going through and that you went through is truly an inspiration to me. And the way you keep your head up and keep fighting, brother. We love you. Shit, tissues. Oh, man. I don't look fantastic. Man. Lost a little bit of weight in the last few days. Haven't been able to eat too much. A lot of the stuff that I've been going through is eating up the esophagus and the lining, so everything's being repaired, and it's kind of hard. I tried to eat with Melissa, and some hot wings kind of screwed me up a little bit, but I still like them.
Hi, sister.
But we'll get that weight back on me here shortly. Taste buds kind of went away, you know. Dan Bryant, what's up, cousin? How you doing, buddy? Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hey, Kiki. Oh, thank you. Hey, I know you did, Melissa. I know you told us. But when you're craving something, you crave it, and if it works out, works out. If it don't, it don't. Try it. Thanks. Thanks, Ricky. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started. So this thing started back in, well, kind of give you something else. We packed up and moved to Colorado back in October. Mid-October, we made it up there. We was fortunate enough, I had a really good friend, Alejandro Velasquez. He had a finished basement that he let me and Talia and the kids stay in until we were able to get our feet underneath the ground and get moving forward, find us a house and everything. So got up there, got my new job, everything went good. It was a rough go around with this company, but we was able to get our house, and when Talia just got it furnished mid-November, probably so. Mm-hmm. I think it was. Actually, it's mid-November we moved in, mid-December.
December, yeah.
We got situated. We got furniture for all the kids. We got decked out house, right? We got it all going. Well, I started having some issues about that same time, about mid-December, with my prostate. Kind of went through some things, went back and forth with the doctor. They thought it was my prostate. Then they thought it was kidneys. Then they thought it was kidney stones. They really didn't know. I kept going in, and probably I held out as much as I could till right after Christmas. And the day after Christmas, the 26th, I couldn't take it no more. I went to the hospital, and sure enough, my prostate was swollen enough that it had backed everything up into my kidneys, and I was going into kidney failure. So they went ahead and drained me, put a catheter in me, and I went back to work the next day, actually, with a catheter in me. Imagine that. But I'm driven. Some of y'all know that. I do what I got to do. But so we go through that, and on the 30th, I was supposed to go get Ryan. Me and Renee had come to an agreement that.
Mr. Rogers, do you need your tray to be taken away? Yes, please.
Me and Renee came to an agreement that Ryan was going to come stay with me. I was finally getting my boy, man. I was excited. And the morning of the 30th, we looked in happened to notice in my catheter that there was some more blood going through there. So had to cancel the trip. Had to cancel getting Ryan up there. We went to the hospital, and my kidney was failing. So they took the catheter out, put a stent in on one side, kept me in through New Year's. I got out, went to the doctor. He took the catheter out, went a couple days, and started having problems with the other kidney. So that went back. So this whole time, I'm going through these episodes of I'm tired, I'm lethargic, feeling out of breath, and I don't mean like out of breath like walking upstairs. I mean out of breath like walking 10 feet and your heart starts beating real hard. So it was weird, and didn't think nothing about it. You know, I was a smoker, so, and I was in higher altitude. I just thought it had something to do with that. Yeah, Mike Flick, I'm stubborn too. But I just thought it had something to do with that. So I kept pushing on, you know, going between doctors, hospital, and work, kept going on. And finally, the second week of January, was able to get Ryan flown up and got him enrolled in school and everything. And super excited, man. Super excited. And then about 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, middle of the night, I started feeling real bad. And told Talia I was going back to the emergency room again. And so I was driving, and I was like, man, I don't know. I was scared. I didn't think I was going to make it. And so I got to the hospital, and they took me right on in. The emergency room took me right on in. And I don't remember much after that. I remember the next day Talia coming up, and I remember the doctor saying that he has something to tell us. And I remember it a little bit differently than what Talia remembers it or knows it. But I remember having to wait on her to get there. He wanted me to wait on her. I'm sorry, God. It's tough. But he come in there and he told us, he's like, it's straight up. He's like, you got leukemia. We think it's AML, and we need to start chemo, you know, tomorrow. Tomorrow,
no,
the next day.
It was a few days. They had to wait to see what type of leukemia he had. So they did the bone marrow on the 1st, and then they were still waiting. I believe we still flew down here to Houston that Monday, which was the 4th, and they still didn't know what he had.
Yeah, so after my diagnosis, and the doctor told us that I would be in the hospital for 6 weeks straight, and with chemo and everything.
Yeah, he was going to have to start chemo as soon as possible, as soon as they found out what type of leukemia it was. Since his white counts were like 80,000, I believe.
Yeah, my white counts has shot up to 80,000.
Yeah.
So that was a trigger for him to realize to go ahead and do the bone marrow, and that I had leukemia. Leukemia, you know, it's a blood cancer. It attacks the cell making ability of your blood marrow of your bone marrow, and it makes it to where it actually suffocates. So backtrack. Your bone marrow makes cells. Those cells either turn into red blood cells, white blood cells, or platelets. And red blood cells, you know, they carry oxygen throughout your body, carry the blood. White blood cells fight infection, and platelets is what restores your blood and keeps your blood going, and remakes your blood. Well, when you get leukemia, it starts to, your bone marrow produces so many cells that they don't ever turn into adult cells. They go through different stages once they're produced, and once those cells reach adults, then they might turn into blood. They might turn into red blood cells, white blood cells, or platelets, whichever the DNA tells them to turn into. Well, mine wasn't. Mine was just producing juvenile cells, and they wasn't turning into anything. So what they do when they do that is they just take up all the space in your bone marrow. They compact, and they pack all that bone space, and they attack each other, and they start attacking your organs. Well, when they checked my white blood count, it was at 80,000. So that means 80,000 of my cells that was being produced were, out of 100,000, were being were juvenile cells, so I was close to being gone. Matter of fact, the doctor told Talia that if I didn't do something now, then I wouldn't see July. That's pretty tough. And also, if I didn't have to make it to the hospital that night, I wouldn't have seen the next day. So, kind of, the Lord watching out for me all over. He's been all over me on this whole ride. But so, we was up there all alone. We had a few friends and stuff, but nothing that could take the time to help us the way we needed help. Going through chemo, the kids, Talia having to go back and forth, be with me and everything. So she actually talked the doctor into letting us transfer to MD Anderson here in Texas, in Houston. And the doctor was phenomenal. He put a whole package together and called and set everything up. He's like, look, as soon as y'all get there, y'all just go straight to the emergency room, and they're going to have everything taken care of, ready for you. Which was like, okay. And then the next day, that day I had a couple of visitors, and my mom and dad drove up to watch the kids while we left, and because we left pretty much the next day. Mom and dad drove overnight, got up there. I got to see them for a day, and then we got on a plane the next day, and they watched the kids and Ryan. And then what was crazy is we left the car at the airport, and Talia's sister and brother and his friend and her husband, Marlene, and Pablo and his friend and Junior, they all jumped on the plane ride and flew up. They actually flew up to Colorado, got in our car, went to our house, and Mama, Daddy, and them, they all packed up the house and took care of the kids, and they had a big yard sale and pretty much sold everything we had. They ended up moving a few items back, driving the U-Haul back to Port Arthur. So, man, I'm very, very, very truly blessed and thankful for those guys. They mean a lot to us. They do a lot for us, and to do that was just special, man. I don't know, but truly thankful for them for that. That helped out. And then Mom and Daddy, they ended up driving back with Ryan and got Ryan back to his mama, and everything pushed on from there. We got here on the 4th. So we got here on the 4th, went through a lot of testing because once you go from one hospital to another, you gotta get retested and everything. And MD Anderson, they don't just throw out a typical chemo protocol for everybody. It's strategically made up just for that person. So it takes them a little bit. It took them a little bit to. Was waiting on a bunch of cellular stuff and stuff I don't know about. It was on a whole nother level, but molecular designs and DNA and stuff. And but once they got it, Dr. Kentarjan, which I was blessed once again to get, he is the head of leukemia for MD Anderson. He is the top dog. So when people ask me who your doctor is, and I tell them, and they kind of look back and they're like, "Oh, you got the chief." Yeah, I got the chief. So that was man, that was a blessing right there. And he came up with a plan, and he's like, this is what we're going to do. He said, "I'll have you in remission after your first chemo, and we'll go to stems. We'll do one consolidation treatment, and then you'll be on the stem cell." And I was like, "Okay, well, you're the guy, so I don't care. Let's just do it.
Do what you need to do.
I trust you. You do this every day. You're the king around here. My life's in your hands, and your hands are in the Lord's hands. So He's gonna take care of you, and I believe you're gonna take care of me. So we all take care of each other." And sure enough, man, we went through chemo. I mean, it wasn't nothing for me to go through that chemo. It kind of made me sick. I was tired. I didn't feel quite myself. I ended up losing my hair, but it grew back fast, you know. So that chemo was 8 days or 7 days.
7 days.
That chemo was 7 days. It was called Flag Ida. A few different, really, really strong chemos. So we did that, and we went through 8 days of that. It was a 28-day cycle. So I went back a few days later and got some tests done, and sure enough, before I went into consolidation, I was in remission, which was absolute fabulous news. I was so excited, man, to hear that. You know, and I went through consolidation, which was a 3-day chemo. It wasn't bad at all. Of course, it makes you sick and stuff, but for what I see people going through around here, I consider it not bad at all. I'm pretty lucky with all this. So after consolidation, we did another bone marrow, and I was still in remission. So it was on our way to transplant. Got out of the hospital, you know. During the weeks, I go to the hospital 3 times a week to get my blood checked. Hold on a second. We got. Hi.
Do you want me to come back?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
That's my nurse. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah. So during the week, I go through the hospital 3 times a week. Sometimes 5 days a week. It depends on how it works out, but no less than 3 to get my blood checked, to see where my levels are at, to see if I need blood transfusions or platelet transfusions. That helps out. And then they also watch all my other levels. So if I'm in, my white blood cells are low, you know, I make sure to wear masks and everything, and try to protect myself from outside environment, which I'm so freaking hard-headed. I don't do, and I didn't do it, and ended up catching pneumonia. So I was able to get down to Mom's. I was able to see the kids because I thought we was going to go to transplant in 2 weeks. I wanted to go see the kids and everybody before I went through transplant, and got down there, man. I was so messed up. I couldn't get out of Mama's bed, but we had some great visitors. Thank you, Amanda, and yeah, the mask. But got down there, had a good visit with everybody, I believe, and come back, and next thing you know, I had a CT scan, and just random for my SCT, my stem cell transplant, and it come back positive for pneumonia. Wow, so that sucked. So emergency, immediately in the hospital. Went through so much testing, got that thing figured out, got it under control. They started giving me meds, and I went through reactions against some of these medications that was so horrible. I had tremors that about shook me out of the bed. I shook so hard, and Talia's got video, but it's kind of like the ending of it. But
It was bad.
those tremors were something I'll never forget. As soon as I'd shake so bad, and it was start at my feet and like go through and in my body, and I was jerking around like I was having a seizure, and as soon as it would calm down, man, I was so out of breath. It felt like I was running a marathon. It was so crazy. So it took the doctors quite a while to figure this thing out, but they gave me some Benadryl, kind of calmed it down, and then they lowered the dosage and lowered the rate that it was inputted in my body, and we got through it that night. So we got through that. Left there. I was in the hospital for about a week. We left. They let us go, and I had a 3-week checkup to see where it was at, to see if it was going into transplant, which was our number one goal. Now that we done hit remission, our next goal was the transplant, and so now we're back on track for going to that. Everything healed up good with my pneumonia and everything, and so we started retesting for all the transplant stuff, and everything went great. For what 60 days, I felt great, and I didn't even feel like I had cancer anymore. And I actually asked the doctor, I said, you sure I need to go through with this stem cell transplant? I feel great. He's like, everybody does. He's like, once you get so far away from chemo and your numbers start coming up, you start feeling really, really good. And he's like, but trust me, he's like, you need it. I have a very
High risk.
a very aggressive type of leukemia. It's AML with the FLT3 mutation, and the FLT3 mutation is high risk for relapsing. I'm sorry. Sometimes this chemo brain kicks in and I lose my wording. But so yeah, he's like, yeah, you need it. I said, all right, doc. You say I need it, I'm gonna get it, no matter what. That's it. And so I trust you. I trust the hospital. Y'all do this stuff all the time, and I just put my body in y'all's hands. So 3 weeks passed. I'm doing great. Kind of get away from not having to be at the hospital every 3 days to I think we skipped like 5 days. We didn't have to come in, and my hemoglobin was already low, and that's what carries oxygen throughout your body. And that Sunday, but right before transplant, a few days before transplant, man, I was walking, boom, 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 boom. I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't go from here to the bed. I couldn't walk 5 feet without my chest bumping out of my skin, man. And I was dizzy and just nauseous. And that's what happens whenever your hemoglobin gets low, your oxygen level gets low. There's not enough blood in you to start to pump around through your body, so it's pumping it faster and faster. It actually could cause damage to your heart. So I knew that was a bad deal, so I jumped in the hospital. We jumped in the car, hustled back to the hospital, went to the ER. They got me admitted right away. So hung out there, went in, spent the night. They got everything. I took I think it was 2 bags of blood and a bag of platelets that they transfused in me, got me back to feeling really good, and so that only left me 2 more days of transplant. So the doctor come in, and I was like, dude, I said, you gonna let me go so I can go home? I said, we still got to pack for everything and bring up here because we're gonna be at the hospital for so long. He's like, no, I can't let you go. He said, I'm admit you for, because it was just, that was Monday and I was being admitted Tuesday, so there was no sense in him doing it, and I understood why. But I was trying to talk him into it. But the thing about this doctor, his name is Dr. Marion, and he says, look, he's like, I can't tell you. He said, I'm not going to tell you to stay. He said, I think you need to go do what you need to do, but don't go far. He said, and come back. Don't be gone too long. So I was like, all right, cool. So they didn't have me hooked up to an IV or nothing yet. So I just jumped in. I called Talia. Talia come and got me, and was able to pack everything, and I was able to help her out, and we got everything up to the hospital, and oh, that's right, Joseph Hunt. Keep them first always, brother. And so we got up here and got admitted. Started the rigorous chemo that they had set up for me to go through and get the stem cell transplant. So what they have to do is they give you a chemo that expands, actually makes your bone marrow expand, and allows this other chemo to come in all the different spaces and try and trace all this disease down and make sure it gets everything out of you. So whenever you do engraft, you don't have a chance of you have a very slim chance of relapsing. The good thing about that is I did have a what's the test called?
Bone marrow?
Yeah, I had a bone marrow aspiration right before I went in for my transplant, and I was 3% blast and negative MRD, so I was really, there was no disease in my body, so I was actually leukemia free going into this, and so which made it better. We started doing the chemo, and I was doing fine. I was eating, we was playing around. I was walking 2-3 miles a day, and having a good time. It's like, well, this ain't bad, and then, man,
2 weeks later.
golly, it was. I don't even know if it was 2 weeks. It was like 3 days after transplant, day 3 or day 4. It hit me. The chemo hit me. Man, what's that stuff called?
Mucositis.
The mucositis. That stuff. That's the worst stuff I've ever felt in my life. But the chemo goes in and it burns your insides. It burns you from your mouth, from your lips and your mouth, all the way down your throat, down through your stomach, your intestines, all the way down to your poop chute. And it's rough. And I thought I was going to do halfway decent. I had a sore mouth. I didn't have any sores in my mouth. It was just sore to move. My stomach was a little upset. I had some indigestion. And it was like, I don't know if y'all remember reading. Y'all didn't hear from me for a couple of days, like day 7 and 8. That's whenever it really, really kicked in, and they had to hook me up to a morphine pump. I had sores right here on each side, on the inside of my lip, right by your big teeth, and it just rubbed and rubbed. Every time I tried to eat, it would just rub against it. Luckily enough, the diarrhea part, which a lot of people go through, I only had 3 episodes within like 3 hours in one day, but it was enough to let me know that it was there, and it's been painful ever since. I'm still going through some pains with that, but the chemical that come out with that diarrhea was just unbelievably on fire. It burnt me bad, and then it also, like, around my scrotum area. It took all the skin off of it, and I couldn't even touch it. It's so tender to the touch. We had to get all these special creams and everything, and finally got the right one, and it healed up in like 3 days. So I was pretty surprised, and the nurses here was fabulous. It's like, look, just keep pushing. You know, we're gonna. It's not you're having it easy. You're easy. You're good. You're great. You're doing great. You're doing better than anybody in this hospital. And you only got a couple more days. Trust me, it's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. So, you know, every day I was just like, it's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. You know, I find strength in all of you. You know, I look at all your posts and all your prayers, and with all that, I know I'm gonna get through it. So that was a big positive for me to get through this thing. Whenever we first got up here, we met this Chinese lady, and her son was going through all this horrible brain injuries and brain tumors, and man, it was enough. And she said he wasn't going to make it, but she got to talking to us and asked me what I was going through, and I was telling her, and she's like, look, you need 4 things to get through this, and if you don't have them, you're not going to make it. So you need to go find these 4 things if you don't have them. She's like, you gotta have faith in the Lord and put Him first, that He's going to get you through this. You have to have a good support system. Like I have a phenomenal support system with all of you. She said you had to have, what else was it? It was God. It was a support system. She said you have to have great doctors. Well, we already knew I had the best doctor in the hospital with Dr. Kentarjan. You know, you got the lead doctor, you got the best. So, and then she said you just got to have the will to survive. And it's like, hell, I got that. You know, you give me 1%, I'm gonna take it all. So, the doctor said I had. First starting out, I only had 20 or 30% to making it out of this thing, and with the stem cell, a successful stem cell transplant that actually brings brings me back up to 65% or 70% to actually beating this. So 5 years, we'll know if I beat it or not. But every day, you know, something better. So yeah, right now we're feeling better. I'm talking better. My sore throat went away. My sores in my mouth has pretty much gone away. The other stuff is doing okay. I'm still got a little upset stomach and nausea. But this morning we got some good news. So I'm 100% engrafted, which means that the new cells have engrafted into my bone marrow, and they are producing the new cells, and that's what's making my white cells jump up and my blood cells come up, and I haven't had to have any transfusions. Everything's coming up like it's supposed to as soon as you get grafted, and so that was, man, that was such a relief to have that. And then next thing is we get to go home tomorrow, so we get to go back to the camper tomorrow, and I get to get off this damn IV machine. I can't stand this thing. It beeps and follows me around everywhere I go. I'm always hooked up to this tube right here. You know, and it sucks and it's crazy. But it's been almost a month in the hospital, so we're ready to get out. And so tomorrow's the day we get out. Of course, we'll have to. We still have to come back to a doctor every day and get my blood checked, and that'll be 7 days a week, and until they say different. If I keep going the way I go, the less and less I'll have to come get checked up, and that's the more freedom I have to live my life and do what we got to do. So hopefully we're looking maybe 3 to 4 weeks. We'll probably be able to get back to some semi-regular life, which is my new normal life, so to speak. So many things I gotta watch out for. I'm like a newborn baby. So from this donor, I got his donor cells, and everything's brand new to my body. So we got to watch out for what they call GVHD, taking medicine. So for that's where the new cells don't say, "Hey, wait, I don't belong in this body. These organs are not right," and they start fighting them organs, right? Eyes, ears, gut, liver, kidneys, lungs, stuff like that. So hopefully I don't have to go through none of that. If some, just hopefully we just get some mild one. But it's been a ride, man, and I want to thank all of you for everything you've done, and all the all the donations. I can't even express the amount of appreciation for that, and all the people I don't know that jumped on and started praying for me and fighting for me, and just everybody with such a good heart and blessings and words of faith and love and to help me succeed and get through this thing. And it's been one crazy hell of a ride. But we're nowhere near the end. I think our next thing is my 30-day bone marrow biopsy. We get that checked out and see where we're staying, make sure I'm still in remission, no disease anywhere. And then my next thing out is 100 days. Get chest checked again and make sure everything's good with that. So get through my 100 days, I'll be able to get a home somewhere and get my kids back and start having somewhat of a life again. So we're excited. I'm excited. I hope y'all get excited for me as well. I guess that's about it I got tonight. Just I love all of you, and like I said, I can't thank y'all again. Melissa Smith Stevens. Man, it's been 25 years, I guess, or so since I've saw or talked to you, and I know you've always been a part of our family when we was growing up, and always friends with Mandy, and everything, and we was all just close growing up, riding horses and all that stuff, but for those of you, Melissa had this little blanket made at her church, and they passed it around our church, and everybody in their church said a prayer for me on this blanket, and even Amanda's got to say on it. And man, that's just to get this in the mail, and I got it. I opened it up, and I was like, what is that? I didn't see the card, and I got a video, and I think Talia sent it out and to Mandy and some other people, but I started reading, and then once I figured out what it is, and man, this thing it just blew my mind, and as somebody that I hadn't saw in 35 years felt it in their heart to do something special as that is just amazing. So thank you a lot, Melissa, and no, I just can't thank you enough. It means the world to me, and I hope you let everybody at your church know how much it means to me. But yeah, so that was great. Other than that, I guess I'm gonna get off here. If anybody's got any questions, we'll stay on a couple minutes. If anybody's got anything they want to ask, if they don't understand about anything, I'll be glad to answer it. Oh, you're welcome, Aunt Loretta. We love you. Thank you, Holly. We appreciate everything you've done, all your prayers, and all your everything you do for me every day. I know you shoot out to help me healing every day. Let's see. Michael Jordan. All right, Mike Fligg, you interested in the stem cell transplant? All right, so basically, they what happens with the stem cell? It was kind of crazy. They check to see what kind of matches you have, and I'm glad you brought this up, Mike. I appreciate it really a lot. So they look at your DNA, and they figure out what Yeah. I'm sorry, I'll be done in a couple minutes. That's my nurse. But so the stem cell, they check your DNA against like your siblings' DNA, like my brother, and then they actually checked it against my kids and see how much of a match you are. And so me and Chucky, we were only half matched, and same thing with my children, Samantha and Ryan. We were only half matched. So the doctors felt that we had a big enough database on bethematch.com. I know y'all see me push that out a little bit for people to register. That's where my donor came from. That's the national registry all over the world. Everybody register who wants to be a donor registers on that thing. And when they put me out there, my coordinator, my stem cell transplant coordinator, she we couldn't believe it. You came back with 34,000 matches. 34,000. You believe that? 34,000 matches. So I'm like, golly, I guess I'm like the original white guy around here or something. I don't know. It was crazy, but I go to these clinics every day with all these people, and I hear these stories of they're waiting to find a match, and they haven't found a match. They've been waiting for months to get a match, and some of them's only had one match, or they were fortunate enough to have two or three. And here I am. I'm sitting here with 34,000 to choose from, and once again, their God is showing up again. Hey, we're going to get you through this thing. And so we picked a donor, and actually they couldn't get a hold of him. So we went to my backup, and he's a 25-year-old kid or man from somewhere in the United States. I don't know. They won't tell you anything about him until after a year. I know he's 25. We had the same blood type, which is great. We was a 10 out of 10 match, so that was awesome. And he's 25, so that's awesome. So the way they harvest his is so the day before my transplant, he goes in and he goes through all these tests, right, to make sure he's healthy, check his lungs, his heart, make sure he ain't got no diseases to spread out. He goes through all these vigorous tests, and then to collect the cells, they put him on kind of like a dialysis machine where it filters your blood, and they filter his stem cells out of his blood. And they catch them in a bag, and they put all the rest of his blood back, and then they put him on ice, and they overnight him here. And as far as me getting them into my body, it comes in a little bag. It's about that big, and it was 500. How many cells? 500,000. It's like 500,000 cells in that bag, and they just hang it up and they just hook an IV up to you and let it go into your body, and that's it. That's the way it goes, and it's pretty simple as far as that goes. The process is simple. They say the donor, after he donates, that's called a peripheral reclamation of cells is what he did. So they bring the cells to the top of your blood, and then they get them out like that. And so I mean, for that, it's really not bad for a donor. You know, they say you might feel tired, you might feel like you have the flu or something like that, or something like that. But other than that, they say a couple of days you're back to normal. It's nothing at all. So yeah, it's a lot easier. There's different ways to do it. That's a peripheral transfusion. There's also the actual bone marrow. That's a stem cell transplant. But there's also the bone marrow transplant, and you see that more with related donors, like brothers and sisters that have a match, where they go into the hospital together, and they actually extract the cells straight from their bone marrow and push them straight into the other person. So and that's pretty painful. So they put them both to sleep for that. But that's I can't tell you too much about that process because I didn't read that much up on it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, brother. Anybody else got any questions? Thanks, Lindsay. I hope you're doing well. Lindsay McClure, guys, she just got out a few days ago. She went through this with us, and she's doing fantastic. So pray for her, doing great things, and she's doing fantastic. So congratulations, Lindsay. Oh, Mark got to go home today. Kind of made me mad. I'm like, dude, what the hell? But Mark got to get double shots. We get shots in our stomach that help us produce our white blood cells and make our counts come up. And it makes our bone marrow. He's a bigger boy. He's probably close to 300 or 250, something like that. So he was getting 2 shots. I got 1 shot. So his white cells came up faster than mine. So he got to go home today. So I'm going home tomorrow, though. But God bless Mark, man. He had more rough time than I did, and prayers for him. I'm glad he got to go home today, and fantastic. I can't be more excited for him. So yeah, I'm a little competitive. I wanted to actually be out at 14 days, but we'll settle for 17. I think it'll be day 17 when I get out. So, Ricky, I put a what's it called? I put it on my webpage. I mean, on my Facebook. How to donate is called BeTheMatch.com. If you click on that, it'll give you details on how to do all that. I really don't know. I know it'll be local. They send you a kit. I think it's just like a mouth swab, and they check you out, and you just send that kit back in, and then that'll store your data and everything. And if you ever get called for a match, then they'll call you up and they'll let you know. But you usually donate at a hospital near you or a blood bank near you. Hanks a pipe, huh, Joe Burt? Man, boy, I don't know about all that no more. I miss it. I miss all you guys. Thank you, Wendy. I'm glad you got Rob back finally. He's been all over the world. Yeah. definitely is gorgeous. I love my wife. She's been the backbone of this thing, man. It's tough for both of us, and you don't realize it. And you push each other. And it gets so aggravated and so frustrated, but then it's just after something like that happens, if you get in an argument, you get in a fight, you just got to make sure you're reiterating, I love you. You're the best thing ever happened to me, and we're in this fight together, and that's it. We're a team and we're going through this, so just got to make sure each of you realize the true feelings throughout, not just what's happening right now. It's because if you live in the right now, man, there'd be some messed up things going on. David Gaither, how you doing, brother? I hope everything's good with you in Virginia. Oh man, I'm staying strong, brother. Looking forward to get out of here and actually getting in the gym and kind of working out a little bit. Oh, you got it, Flig. I love you, brother. Take care, man, and we'll see you. Yeah, and that's all I really wanted to set out to do with all of this is to let everybody know what happens, what actually happens, what goes on. I know before this, I never knew what cancer was. I know my family members had it, but I never got into it. I I thought I knew, but I had no idea, man, and what people actually go through and see it. I went through the ladder of it, man, compared to what a lot of these people are going through. And I pray for these people in this hospital, man, and all the people that can't find matches or that's going through rough times, and that has it rough to me, because I can't feel bad for myself if I'm looking at that person that's in a worse shape than I am. I can't. I gotta pray for that person, and look at me. I'm good compared to that, Um, and that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I get through things. Uh, I got a strong wife, tell her what's going on. She's like, hey, don't worry about it. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna survive, and stuff like that. So, oh, Ricky, I remember you, brother. 107 all the way. But yeah, it's a fight. And I still got a long way to go, but we got this far. So once we get through this, go home tomorrow, get through these next 30 days, and hopefully no GVHD starts sitting there. We can get through this. But, hey, Hunter. Uh, Pam. What's up, Pam? Kind of got to the end of this thing already, and it's just out here bull crap, talking with people and answering some questions that people didn't understand or might not know. And hey, brother John, uh, yeah, God has my back in bar. I 100% believe that. Everything I've went through and everything I was able to get as my resources to go through this, I've been fortunate. I couldn't ask for anything more. Um, just fortunate. Thank Him every day and give Him the glory. It's all Him. He helps us all make the decisions we make. Yeah, Ricky, I try to be a good person, man. I've always have. Try to stay and have a good heart. Try and keep me honest. Oh, thanks, Manny. I appreciate it. Yeah, no GVHD. We don't want none of that. That can get rough, but it can be mild too. So, a little bit's not a bad thing, they say. But
8:30.
all right. So we've been on here about an hour. Ain't bad. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I was trying to get to. The reason why I made this thing so people would understand what actually happens, what people go through, and and how anybody can help if they need to, if they want to. I mean, it might not help us specifically, but it will help somebody, and that's beatamatch.com. Uh, just register, or if you want to go give blood, donate blood, man. The country's in a blood crisis right now. I know a lot of places they have the smaller hospitals. They don't keep blood on hand. They gotta get it from bigger hospitals. So those are some big things to keep in mind, man. It don't take long. It's unselfish, and you can save somebody's life. So I don't know if you got anything against that, and I guess don't do it. But I never done it. I gave blood once and never thought about it again. Never really knew. I was like, oh, they got blood everywhere, you know. But no, they don't. It's actually shortage. It's a very shortage. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get off this thing. My nurse needs to get in here, do some tests, and give me some meds, and get ready to go night night, guys. But I appreciate everybody jumping on and checking this thing out, and it'll be up here forever, I guess. I'll never take it down. So y'all go back and watch it if you missed it. Um, I hope it was informative enough, and everybody got to understand what my story was and everything, and what we went through and how we got to where we're at. All right. I love all of you, and so much. And what's in cancer, right? Should be one goal in cancer. All right. Love you. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.